Hello, everyone. The one called Fate knocks at your door. Haven't used that in a while, right?
We only open it with every episode.
We haven't used it in a long time. But we're back with another episode of Tabletop Recap. I'm your host, Hunt.
And
you are...
usually you introduce me.
I don't want
I'm Big Boy Chungus.
Big Boy Chungus. Gotta love it. So today we have another Dungeons & Dragons episode, yet another part of our Descent into Avernus playthrough.
So today, or should I say during our last session, it was a little bit light. More combat than anything.
Almost all combat.
Yeah, 85% at least.
And just like one little roleplay bit, and that was kind of it.
Yeah, and I didn't want it to wind up that way, but that's just how it got set up.
Our players for that session were D-Legend, G, and Connor. Keocat.
Keocat was not able to be with us.
Yeah, she's busy becoming a doctor, so she's busy being more successful than the rest
She is now better
of
than
us.
us.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, that's obviously like more important than everything. But yeah,
Which
so
honestly, I think it worked out better for her that she wasn't here for this session, because combat, especially lengthy combat, kind of bores her, I think, which isn't a bad thing.
I mean, combat like that bores me.
I got tired of running it, but I'd already bitten off the bite and I had to chew it.
Yeah, they're basically fighting their way through that big
High hall.
religious high hall. Yeah. So at the end of the last one, they were traveling through Elchuel. I think we've been pronouncing that wrong, but I'm going to keep saying Elchuel. In hell, Avernus, and they picked up a mother and her two children, and then an orphan child. His family was eaten by like ghouls or something. Ghasts, right? Thank you. They got them, and they kind of took them to this place, and they fought hellhounds outside and they kind of realized the place was a little compromised. So our players in this one are the mother, two children, the orphan. And then we had D-Legend's character, what's his name again? Black Lion?
Jadal Blackline.
Yeah, Tabaxi Monk. And also G's character, Myastan Ballastar, Dragonborn Paladin. And Connor's character, Corvus...
I just call him Corvus.
I don't remember his last name.
I think...
His worst character, so that makes sense. I'm just kidding.
Actually, now that I think about it, I haven't confirmed this with him. This is just an idea. I've been watching some videos about Warhammer 40k, and there's actually a prominent character whose name is Corvus. I think it's named after him.
He has been playing a lot of Total War Warhammer recently, so that's very possible. Yeah, so, and Corvus, the half-elf warlock to the Raven Queen. He is half-elf, right?
Yes, he is half-elf.
Yeah. He's our min-maxer.
Which I think he does fine with it.
I don't have any problem with min-maxing.
No.
I have zero problem with min-maxing.
I just wish he would be more clear about when he's going to prepare Eldritch Blast.
Ready, Eldritch Blast? This time it's not a joke? Okay.
Oh, so yes, they have arrived at High Hall. They are in hopes of finding other survivors and other high-ranking members of Elchuel's military, civilian population, and government. But they are not in as much luck as they would like, because right now the High Hall is overrun with devils, cultists, and other undesirables. As they enter, the first thing they notice is that there are several statues of some of Elchuel's main deities, like Torm, Lathander, and
Big Chungus.
Tyr. However, some of these statues have begun corrupting the statues and altering them to look more like Zariel, the archdevil of Avernus. And
I'd smash.
for whatever reason, our characters have forgotten a little bit of who Zariel is.
Yeah, they got a huge lore dump on Zariel.
They got several lore dumps. They got a lore dump after they defeated the matriarch of the Vanthapur family. They got another huge dump when they went to go talk to the tiefling archmage in...
They learned almost everything about Zariel.
Yeah, literally the only thing they haven't learned about is some of the specific personal details about her backstory. Like, how she's related to key characters.
Yeah, there was a point in this session they were interrogating a devil, and he mentioned Zariel, and they were like, "Who's Zariel?" And we're like, "What do you mean, who's Zariel? Take some notes, Christ!" Who's Zariel? You heard her name 2 weeks ago. You already forgot?
Yes, and upon entering High Hall after passing the corrupted statues, they're not too pleased to see another Abishai. But whereas the last one they fought was the OP Red, this was a white Abishai, which are the lowest in the Abishai rank. And they're more like berserkers. They don't have a lot of magical powers, but they're very fast and they have like some rage abilities. And this Abishai was controlling a bunch of cultists, telling them to like deface the artwork and everything of the statue. And they immediately just start combat.
Yeah.
Like there could have been some roleplay moments with this, but they saw that Abishai and they're like, kill it!
We have a grudge on Abishais. One of our guys is literally sworn to kill them, so...
My God said I had to do this, so,
Sorry about this guy.
Cowabunga it is, then.
Cowabunga it is.
I love that.
Me too.
So they did a lot of fighting. After they killed the Abishai, which actually started kicking their butt after a little while. But they managed to get through it relatively quickly. However, they did not kill all of the cultists because they, as the fight was starting to wind down, one of them did the smart thing and tried to retreat, which no one... Corvus tried hitting it with an Eldritch Blast and missed. Jadal tried running after him, but even after doubling his movement speed with his monk abilities, he still couldn't catch him. And so he notified one of the other devil squads that was in the next room. And then out from behind the next area comes...
Was it a...
It is called a Muragon. These are another mid-level devil. They basically look like bronze-clad, halberd-wielding soldiers.
They got the big masks.
Yeah. Now, normally, or at least in the Monster Manual... No, not the Monster Manual. Mordenkainen's Tome of Foes, it describes them as having a mask that reflects their infernal overlord. So they don't all have baby faces, but...
The minis do.
Yeah. The artwork in the book does, and that's what I use to show the characters, this is what the thing looks like that you're currently about to engage with. And that really freaked Connor out for whatever reason. I don't know. I mean, it freaked everybody out a little bit, but Connor especially was like, screw this baby mask.
They're creepy looking dudes. They're pretty cool, though. I like them.
But along with this Muragon, he has 2 hellhounds, which they've already fought 2 out in the foyer, and they can be pretty scary with their fire breath.
And they got that, don't they have that fear thing or whatever also? Something like that?
They have pack tactics. The fear thing that you're referring to is with... What was it?
Before you continue, I just want to let you know I know what pack tactics are.
Yeah, I know.
That's a bit of an inside joke that we have.
Yeah, and I'm one that I'm ashamed to say that I started. There was no fear thing. There was... Oh, no, you're thinking about my Stan's ability where he can make an enemy fear him for like a turn and then they have to make a saving throw.
Maybe it was because of a nat 1 or something with the Hellhounds last time that there was a fear thing, and I was just thinking that was an ability of theirs.
Yeah, well, my Stan made several enemies afraid of him, so they had to like spend their turn running away.
Yeah, I know he can do that.
But I digress. So eventually the fight does die down, and they do defeat the Muragon and his Hellhounds. But rather than killing him outright, he surrenders, and he tries cutting a deal with them where he will give them some information in exchange for making a contract, which devils are always going to try and make a contract. That's something that's unavoidable, but not all contracts are malicious. Like
sometimes they just want to get out of there,
yeah.
which is what was going on
this
here.
Muragon literally just, sign this piece of paper saying that I'll give you information in exchange, you let me go. And Corvus tried intimidating him, which he did make a successful intimidation throw, so he did give him some free information without signing a contract. And he basically had to explain to them a whole bunch of information.
Yeah. Give us some of that info.
So the first thing that the players were not in the loop about was that there's an inherent difference between demons and devils. Whereas like in most Abrahamic religions, demons and devils are just interchangeable terms for the same type of evil being. Demons and devils are actually two completely different species in Dungeons and Dragons.
I'm not even going to lie. Before we started Ascend into Avernus and you and I were working on it, I thought they were the same thing too.
They're not, and they actually hate each other. Well, I mean,
yeah, there's like a big war going on.
Demons hate everything, including other demons. And devils are similar, but the main difference is that demons are chaotic evil and devils are evil or lawful evil.
Yeah.
So he basically explains to them what the difference between the two are. And then the next thing they asked was, well, why are there demons and devils if you guys are different? And then he had to explain to them what the Blood War was, which is this eons long war that's been waging between devils and demons since hell was formed, where demons are constantly invading through the river Styx, which is starts in Avernus and then trickles down to all the other levels of hell and other parts of the multiverse. And that basically Avernus is the front line for stopping the demons from invading the rest of hell and other parts of the multiverse. So even though devils are evil and horrible creatures, they actually do a service to the multiverse by stopping the demons from invading other parts of the world. Then they asked the question, why? So if you're fighting all these devils, then why are you bothering with Elturel? And he said, "You not know how devils reproduce?" And they said, "No." And of course, I made them roll intelligence checks, and no, they didn't. And they said, "Well, that's kind of an oxymoron because devils technically don't reproduce. We just replenish our numbers by taking souls and then shaping them into devils." And he explained to them the whole process of how a soul could either become evil or is good and then eventually corrupted, comes to hell, becomes a lemur, and then as that lemur progresses their way up the political ladder, I guess you could say, they can make their way into higher level devil forms.
Yeah, I really liked how you used the word reproduce. I thought that was like a creative way to put it.
Technically, they don't reproduce; they're just created. But a devil who's, and that's the other thing that the players, I didn't tell them this, and they'll probably learn this at some point in the future. But devils have no memory of their previous life when they become devils, because one of the properties that the River Styx has, which is where all devil souls that become devils are born into, is that they are given immediate and permanent amnesia. So even though it might be a goal for someone to become a devil, they will have no memory of their past life once they become a lemur. Or a lemur, as some call them. But anyways, so this whole lore dump is put on the players, which they thought was really interesting, especially since they forgot half of it from the last session with Zariel. And so then they start exploring this half of the cathedral. Corvus decides to go up a flight of stairs that was in the room.
Well, no. Let's talk about Connor trying to take the dude's mask.
Oh, yeah. So there's one thing that they specifically was so disturbed by this mask that he wanted to take it away from the devil and just destroy it. He thought, like, this is an abomination.
No, he wanted to keep it.
He did?
Wear it around. Yeah,
maybe it was my stand who wanted to, like, deface it and stuff. But he wanted the mask for himself, Corvus did. And so he tried taking it, and this is actually specifically said in Mornicana's Tome of Foes. Murgon's masks, they do not have an identity of their own, meaning they're basically either faceless or they have deformed features to the point where they can't identify as someone.
Yeah, plus the mask is bolted to their heads.
Yeah, the mask is not meant to be removed. The only way that a Murgon's mask is removed is if it is either demoted to a lower level of devil, or it is promoted to a higher level. Once a Murgon is made, that mask stays on. The mask stays on in bed.
Yeah, they just change its shape depending on its master, basically.
Yes.
But he was like, I want it, and he tried to pull it off, and it's like, it's bolted. And he was like, oh, Myastan, cut his head off. And he was like, I'm not going to do what you tell me to do. Because this is one thing that Corvus always does, is whenever he wants something done, he kind of relegates it to Myastan.
Yeah, he's kind of gone from asking Myastan to do things that he would rather not do to just straight up ordering him. And Myastan's like, screw you!
Yeah, because at one point he was like, all right, everyone, the Dragonborn will lead you to safety. Not me, though. Everyone go with him. And
he also did that with his previous character by dumping all the kobolds onto him. Remember that with the Son of the Citadel?
I do remember. That's so funny. And Myastan gets so upset. Because, yeah, my stand was actually going to behead the dude just to kill a demon. And then Corvus told him to, and he was like,
well, now I'm not going to do it.
Yeah, then he stabs him through with...
You know that Pingu meme where he's just sitting there grumpily on a chair? And he's like, well, now I'm not going to do it. Exactly. That's like him every time Corvus tells him to do something.
And then Myastain killed him a different way because he didn't want to chop off the head for Corvus. But then he killed him in like... What?
There was one of the cultists he killed by stabbing him with a morning star.
Oh, I thought he stabbed the demon. I kind of wasn't present for this session because I was...
under the weather.
Yeah, I was, one, kind of sick, and two, I was house sitting for someone, and I was cleaning their house before they got back that night. So I was kind of just listening to this session like a podcast, basically.
So, at that point, after the Murgon is dealt with, Corvus just gives up on the whole mass thing because Mystain's not going to help, and two, it's bolted. So he goes up a flight of stairs that is located within this room where everybody is congregated. And Corvus discovers that there's a balcony overlooking the main pulpit of the cathedral, along with a giant organ, which he didn't even bother to interact with. That organ was magical.
I would have interacted with the organ for sure. You see an organ like that, it's, yeah.
Very ornate, bronze, and it even said that it had like ivory keys that shone white, despite that the black keys seemed to absorb all light. But he did take advantage of the balcony because he noticed that the cultist who ran away from the previous fight was hiding behind one of the pillars overlooking this bloody, corpse-riddled pulpit. There was just devils and civilians and soldiers killed. It was grotesque and bloody. But Corvus calls him out, rolls an intimidation check, and he tells him to surrender. He succeeded, so he did. Of course, he orders Myastain to take him prisoner, which Myastain was like, no, I'm doing something else.
No, I'm not going to do what you tell me to, dude. Especially since Myastain's, like, very easily the group leader, right?
Yeah.
Like, of course.
If for no other reason other than when no one else can make a definitive decision, he always seems to be the one to do so.
He also does the most roleplay, and he's the strongest. Well, at least level-wise.
Well, and physical. I think he has the highest strength skill out of anybody.
Yeah, just like pure physical strength and etc. He's a toughie.
Mm-hmm. But, that was something else we also forgot to mention. During the fight with the Murgon, Jadal died.
Oh, yeah. You know, I totally forgot about that. That's actually very important.
Yeah, it is, because... For those of you who've been...
We're recording this a week after. We usually record it right after the session. We're doing this a week after this time.
Right, so before I get too far ahead of myself, Jadal actually did take a mortal blow from the Murgon. But for those of you who have been listening to our podcast regularly, he, upon dying with the first time as Jadal, unintentionally wound up making a deal with the archdevil Levistus, who, after doing my lore research, is very unpopular in hell amongst its archdevils. But yeah, so Levistus is basically the archdevil of desperation, survival, and vengeance. And because of his...
Perfect type of devil to bring you back to life.
Yeah, and so basically what Jadal has... I didn't make him a warlock because, one, I didn't feel that D-Legend was ready to dual class. I'm not even ready to dual class, and I've been playing for about a year. But also, I didn't want to have to create a dual class character. So instead, what I did was that using Mordenkainen's Toe of Foes, I gave him one of the boons that most Levistus cultists receive from him. And basically, when he died, Levistus instantly reported him out of the fight. He removed him out of the cathedral. He was now in the foyer where Rhea, Lulu, and the other civilians were hiding.
Yeah, Rhea and Lulu were keeping the mom and kids safe.
And after being teleported to this location, he was instantly given full health. And after being revived, I roleplay Levistus in D-Legend's head. And he's like, ah, that one's for free. Now you owe me. Of course no one else can hear this, and Rhea just instantly sees Jadal teleport right in front of him, and she's like, what was that? And D-Legend's like, long story fight.
Long story jorts. He did explain it to them during the session, though.
Yeah, he did, and that raised a lot of questions.
They did not like it.
No, they didn't. But Jadal also expressed that he didn't like it either.
Yeah, continue, sir.
So Maestan was like, "You sold your soul to a devil? I thought you knew better than that." He said, "I didn't know he was a devil at first. It was just a giant skeletal hand." And Rhea's like, "Why would you accept a giant skeletal hand?" She said, "You do realize that there are some things in this life worse than death." And he says, "Well, I know that now." And so basically what's going to happen is if Jadal ever wants to get another boon, he is going to have to do jobs for Levistus. And Levistus is already an archdevil. He has his own agenda, so he'll probably approach him first, say, "Hey, got someone needs you to kill for me," or maybe he'll start manipulating the party against each other with the help of Jadal. Like, maybe Slobber Chops isn't as safe as Katie would hope.
Slamber champs. Yeah, we still got the cat we stole, the Tressum we stole.
We didn't steal. We gave it some scraps and it followed us.
Kyoket's actually done that to a cat in real life.
Oh, I know, for the best possible reason.
Yeah, she stole her neighbor's cat.
But anyway, so Jadal now has opened this big can of worms where he now owns an archdevil, and a few people know who Levistus is. He's more known in his own dimension, but he's like a celebrity, I guess you could say, just in terms of how many people know him, devils, demons, whatnot. But anyways, so after, where was it? Oh yeah, so they found Corvus found the cultist from earlier, got him to surrender. And Jadal was there to try and subdue or restrain him. However, he did not succeed well on a saving throw where the cultist tried to break away, which he did successfully. And Corvus tried to hit him when he ran away, which he did not succeed. And he basically sprung a surprise attack from another enemy force that was in the next room, which consisted of a barbed devil and 8 devilish crabs. When I say devilish, I don't mean they look charming and handsome. I'm saying they've got runes and charred skin. And
they had little bow ties and top hats. They're each clutching a little cane in one paw.
One's name was Seymour. Delightfully devilish.
The other just goes by the Colonel. God, I want art for that.
But so yeah, they start another fight, and this time Lulu joins in because she and everyone else is in a better position, and they kind of breeze through that no problem.
Yeah, I remember them crunching those crabos.
The whole reason for the crabs being there, they're actually not that tough. They can pretty much be 1 or 2 shot from any of their attacks. But crabs have a unique ability where if you don't succeed on a strength saving throw during one of their attacks, you're instantly restrained. And you then have to try and break free from their claws before you can do anything else. So the whole point of that encounter was to have the crabs try and restrain the players, and then have the barbed devil just pick them off one at a time. Which they got around very well. But they defeated the barbed devil, and they started searching the area. My stand discovered a survivor. There was a halfling druid by the name of... What was his name? Seltern Obranch. He is a druid of Sylvanus, the goddess of nature. And he basically told him that the main body of the civilians and survivors are located in the catacombs below High Hall. They managed to spirit them away there before the devils fully breached the door and caused mass carnage. He did not see where the entrance was, for he was already on the front lines with the other soldiers giving aid, and by the time they swarmed them, he was playing dead, trying to stay alive. So he can't confirm that there are many survivors in High Hall, but he has no idea how to get access to them. Which
Gotcha.
Leads to a little search of the main room, and come to find out that in the middle of this room there is a altar to Torm. And this altar basically looks like a giant stand-up fist standing straight up with its fist clenched. And there is a hidden lever, which I believe it was D. Legend who found it. And when this lever is pulled, it opens up, lowers down, and a spiral staircase leads down into the catacombs. Which, if the players took too long, the devils could have actually found first and then started killing civilians.
It's like the end of a Mike Tyson Mysteries episode.
Oh, dang. We didn't get to the filter in time.
All right, team. You do a better one than me.
And that's pretty much where the session ended for that day. 3 rounds of combat with enemies that are appropriate to the player's level. It took about 3 hours. We spent 3 hours in combat and probably about 45 minutes to an hour doing some role play.
Yeah, we started an hour late also, and then Connor had to go at 4.
So, yeah, not a lot of progress story-wise, but they did clear a lot of enemies, and they did get some more information regarding Avernus, Hell, the Abyss, and the people who live there. Hopefully they were taking notes and will remember this so I don't have to do this all over again. But we'll see. Next session, they are supposed to be meeting up with the civilians and learn exactly what has happened to Older Ravengard, at least where he is currently located. And that's it.
Yeah, that actually almost hits our 30-minute mark, which is our minimum length for multiple people on the podcast. I actually thought it wouldn't take this long. But we actually do have some other things that we wanted to talk about. First, I think we should explain our new 3-level rule.
You have to remind me of that one again. There's been a lot of stuff I've been having to absorb.
So right now we have this rule where we play about every 2 weeks, unless we have like a really short session. Then sometimes we'll do 2 weeks in a row just to make it feel like, one bigger one. So what we do is it's almost impossible to get all of us together at once because one of us is working on a thesis and one of us is
one of us has one of us has a full-time job. One's working on a thesis. One's still in college, and the other one is has a bunch of other burners on the stove.
Yeah.
Or sticks it, whatever. They're very, very busy.
We're all busy, so it's hard to get us all together at once. So we have this thing where as long as 3 of the players and the DM can be there, we'll have a session. And the other person just doesn't get any experience since they didn't get to play. But our characters can save loot for them if they want. Like, they saved D-Legend a bunch of gold one time after they finished the actual Baldur's Gate part of it.
It's just a shame he won't have as much time to spend it because Avernus' economy is much different than that of the material plane.
Yeah, he got all that gold, and then it's like, I think that's why they give you so much gold in that vault, because they know you're not going to be able to use it.
I mean, don't get me wrong, gold still has its value, but considering that the main currency in Hell is physical souls, which technically is evil to be interacting with, gold does not carry the same weight as it does in Faerun.
Yeah. So, yeah, you can save loot, but we also have this problem where it's possible to get behind. So if a character can't come so often that they get 3 levels behind, then they automatically get 2 levels. Because if they're that much behind and then they come back in, they're just going to die.
Right.
They aren't going to be able to stand up to anything. So if you get 3 levels behind, you get 2 levels. That's just to make sure that you can continue to play when you eventually come back.
Because no one wants to make a character that they love only to have it die because they happen to have real-world important stuff to do.
Yeah, it's like you can't come for several sessions because of, like, work, and then you come back and you immediately die. Not cool. Not cool at all. I'm also, I will be role-playing all the big Tiamat characters. Which is something we decided so that I have a little more to do. Because... So I'll be running Archon and his whole squad. The Red Abishai that I've already done once. Who... Yeah, I need to talk to you about something else for him, actually. I have a lot of ideas for the Abishai. Just to work him in. Which
I'm a little disappointed because the Abishai has a name. No one's just bothered to remember it.
Yeah.
That's okay, though. So to my stand, he's just that one heretic.
Perfect. So yeah, because we got him, and I'm playing all the Archons, and Tiamat herself as well, if they interact with her. But we're going to do this thing where the existence of the Abishai has kind of changed the hierarchy of the Tiamat cronies, and that's going to kind of change the role play up a bit. So it'll be different from other groups running Descent into Avernus.
Yeah, because see, here's what's really funny about Tiamat's whole predicament in hell is that she is not a devil. She is, in fact, a god, a deity, and a chaotic one at that. So the fact that she is bound to a realm, while evil, is in fact lawful. She cannot just go around doing whatever she pleases. She has to answer to somebody, mainly Asmodeus, who is also a god, one very much more powerful than she is.
She's only like a minor god.
Yeah, she's a lesser god. Now, Asmodeus wasn't always a god, and we'll talk more about his backstory, or multiple backstories, because technically no one knows the truth about Asmodeus. He's very secretive. But just know that he basically does have Tiamat on a leash. She does not like it. So while she is...
like 5 leashes.
Yeah. She is chaotic, but she understands that she has to play nice or else Asmodeus will punish her. And because of that, she has to also make her minions, who are mostly chaotic, toe the line as well. Which is really funny to roleplay because you have to get in the mindset of someone who just wants to destroy everything, but know there are laws. Kind of like in today's society.
Kind of like when I go to the toilet and I'm like, I'm going to destroy everything. But then I'm like, oh, wait, I don't want to get kicked out of Target.
But yeah, so it's going to be fun. I'm really looking forward to that. But yeah, so basically the point I was trying to make with that is the tension between Archon the Cruel, which you guys will meet later, and this Abishai, while they are bound by law, Asmodeus' law, to play nice, doesn't mean they have to like each other. And so they are very much trying to find ways to bend the rules, not just Asmodeus's, but also Tiamat, to try and like win their waifu's love. Yeah, Tiamat is Archon and the Abishai's waifu.
Dude, have you seen those ads for that like Monster Girl waifu TTRPG that's coming out? Dames of Asteria or something?
We're like Dames of Hysteria.
I actually thought that's what it was at
because
first.
That's what the fans of those kind of games usually act like.
Oh, jeez. But also, just a little more D&D news. I'm actually going to start making characters and playing again after Descent into Avernus. Because I've been helping you, like, as a co-DM, so I know too much about it to join in now. But our other group with Karen's campaign, if you remember the Karen's campaign series, it's probably not happening anymore. It's been months, and...
Well, life, from what I've heard, life has just happened, and there's no one's at fault, nothing bad has happened.
Well, they're going back to school.
Yeah.
So
circumstances have occurred where things are more important, and we're just going to kind of break up the band a little bit, which is no big deal. Nothing says we can't have more sessions in the future. We're just kind of taking a little bit of a break.
Yeah, so I think it's like it's not we're never going to play D&D with them again. They're still our best friends.
Yeah.
You know, it's just they've reached a point in their life where they're both full-time employed and they're becoming full-time students as well. They're just not going to have D&D time, apparently. And that's fine, you know. That stuff comes first. Hobbies are important, but not more important than paying rent. And being educated.
Without rent, you can't have the hobbies.
Yeah, you can't. You don't have a place to play if you don't have a place to live. So, yeah, Karen's campaign is kind of on hold indefinitely. Might come back one day. There's actually a session that we didn't record the podcast for. I think you and I just need to do that on our own.
I can remember most of it. It wasn't a very productive session, but it was fun.
It was a very fun session. I really get into Kabuto. We should. Yeah,
I'd love to continue playing more as Tywin.
That would probably be the good to do for the next episode, to break up these Descent into Avernuses.
Probably.
To be honest.
Agreed.
But yeah, I'm going to start playing again. I have 2 characters kind of prepared. One is prepared like on paper, character sheet made and everything. I actually made her for Waterdeep Dragon Heist forever ago. But she's basically just like, she'll work in the lore in anything. So I'm just going to use her in whatever we play next. We've kind of changed up our things here. No one wants to do Tomb of Horrors because they're scared. They don't want to lose their characters.
Yeah,
Who can blame them,
I'm going to be
right?
honest. I did not lie about Tomb of Horrors. I straight up told them, I said, even if you are a level 20 character, there's a good chance that your character will die in this. And everyone just loves their characters too much to see them die even after their first campaign. So
it's like a winnable Kobayashi Maru. Don't nod your head like you know what that is.
I'm just agreeing.
It's the unwinnable
Is that a Star Trek thing?
Yeah, unwinnable test in Star Trek.
Oh, okay.
The one Kirk cheated on.
Oh, okay. And yet they still let him into the academy.
That's why, because they were impressed that he pulled it off. Well, at least that's why in the first continuity. In the second continuity, they're actually really mad for him about it. But yeah, so I'll be playing again. Her name is Kivala Narishiko, which is just two Kamen Rider names because I love Kamen Rider.
Is that why your cat's name is Naughty?
My cat is named Narishiko after Kamen Rider Narishiko, but I shortened it to Nari because I didn't want to say Narishiko every time I looked at her. Yeah, so she's also named after the same Kamen Rider. That's one of my favorite riders from one of my favorite seasons.
And what race is she? I forget.
Are you talking about my cat or my character?
Your character. I know what race Naughty is.
My cat's a Russian blue. Beautiful, gorgeous, expensive cat. I got her off the street, though. And she's half-elf. Because I'm good with half-elf clerics. That was my first character ever, and I took them all the way up to max level. They're still alive as an NPC. In my friend's campaign, who was also a player in that with me. And, yeah, so she's a half-elf cleric, and she has an excellent backstory that we can't talk about.
Yeah, we crafted... I think we spent like 2 hours crafting that backstory.
That's the best backstory any of my characters have ever had.
And it's not too complicated, but it's diverse enough that I can definitely work with it as a DM. Like, there's going to be a bunch of stuff for your characters I can come up with.
There's a very interesting BBEG behind it.
And then we're also looking... If the players decide they don't want to do... Waterdeep Dragon Heist. I've also been reading the Icewind Dale campaign in case they want to do that, which is
that one has my vote.
I don't doubt it. I've already read so the way Icewind Dale sets itself up is that there's not one starting point like most campaigns. There's actually it takes place in a region known as 10 Towns, which, as the name implies, there are 10 settlements within this tundra region, and you can literally start off your campaign in any one of them. And in each one, there are unique side quests and unique branches that the main quests can come off of. So I've only read 2 so far because they're really good and they're really long. But it'll be definitely interesting. There's a lot of horror elements, a lot of suspense. The book even tells you that some of these horror elements might upset some of your players, so be sure you let them know. And if anyone's not okay, don't run this campaign.
Yeah, that's why this campaign is the big one for me, because I'm a huge horror buff. If you go to our YouTube channel, B3 Productions is in the link to the podcast on Anchor and everything. But if you go to that channel, we have a lot of our gaming videos, but also I do a lot of horror and monster videos for like movies and comics and stuff. I love horror, I love monsters, and I really like icy tundra-y settings. So this one's perfect for me.
Yeah, it's really great. I don't know what it is about this, but I love the wildlife in this set. I love how the gods, enemies, NPCs interact with one another because it's very inhospitable.
Yeah, I also love heavy nature settings. So.
Yeah, and it's unique because we've been playing Avernus where they're literally in hell. You won't find many other inhospitable places in the multiverse, but then you've got Icewind Dale, and this is in the material world. Like, this is your everyday place, and it's just as dangerous as Avernus, if not more dangerous, because we'll get into that when we play it.
Yeah, and then Waterdeep Dragon Heist is the other one. I'm thinking, like, whichever one we pick first, I'm going to use Kivala Narishiko, and then I also have Mara, the half-human lizard folk, who I haven't made a sheet for yet, but she has a pretty simple backstory.
Half-human lizard folk. I don't know how we're going to work that as a race.
I'm just give it regular lizard folk.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Not like I don't.
We could just say she was raised by humans or something.
The half-human thing for her is just that her dad was human and her mom was lizard, and she was raised by him because the mom was like, I'm a lizard, I don't raise my kids. So she actually has no exposure to lizard folk culture.
Oh, so that's funny. So she's, even though she is a lizard folk, she acts like a human.
Yeah, she has no exposure to lizard folk culture. And she also has like some human traits, like she has red hair. Lizard folk don't have hair. She has like a short red hair and stuff. And also big old wide monster girl hips.
You had to bring that otaku crap in here.
Yeah, I'm just trying to make you uncomfortable.
I mean, it's funny.
It's funny, yeah.
It's
funny.
Just like it's like that Skyrim tale, the lusty Argonian maiden.
Yeah, basically.
By the way, have you ever actually read that?
Yeah, I've read a bunch of the books in Skyrim and stuff.
It's weird.
It's very weird. But yeah, she's my other one, and she basically just she kind of wants adventure because her dad didn't let her do a lot of stuff as a kid because they were living in like a human settlement and she was a lizard person, you know?
Dad, I feel like I don't belong. No kidding.
She sings that song from Disney's Hercules.
I
will find my way.
Instead of a medallion from Zeus, it's just eggshells.
Michael Bolton's a hack. But yeah, those are the weird. I just kind of realized they're both ladies.
Yeah, I mean that's not too big. There's a lot of players who will play opposite genders in these games.
I didn't do that on purpose, though.
Speaking of females, that's another thing that we haven't really talked a lot about in Avernus. There are a lot of strong female characters in this campaign.
Oh, yeah, like a ton. So many. The BBEG's one. We got one in our party who's an NPC and stuff. One of our last bosses was a big, strong lady.
Half the archdevils are female, and then you've got all the female heroines, villains, and anti-heroes are also female as well, like Rhea Mantlemorn. Lulu is technically it does not have a gender, because I guess that's another thing. Celestials and devils technically don't have genders, I guess you could say.
Lulu sounds a little feminine to me, though. So
yeah,
I don't think Lulu will mind. Maybe we should ask Lulu's pronouns at the beginning of next session.
Well, that's the thing. I actually I was reading that because in the setting there is a backstory for one of the villains that you can potentially run across, and the way they describe her backstory is they were courting one of the archdevils. However,
did you say it? That's disrespectful.
That's why I said they. I realized my mistake. I am trying to be woke. Leave me alone.
Woke life.
But anyway, but they use the term courting, meaning that they were like dating or something, I assumed. But they never mentioned them by he or she. It's just they.
Oh, okay. That's interesting.
Plus, also, they don't have genitalia, no male or female genitalia, so I don't really see the point of courting other than just trying to personally gain power.
Oh, so no sex or gender, huh? Interesting. There was other things I wanted to talk about, actually. I bought a new TTRPG that I'm basically just going to use for like holiday one-shots, pretty much, called Tiny Frontiers, Mecha and Monsters. It's basically Pacific Rim, the role-playing game.
I remember you talking about this.
Yeah, it's you can play as mechas and like there's monsters and stuff, and it comes with some scenarios. It's made for cheap, fast play. You don't have to learn a lot of rules, etc. I'm excited to do it, but we probably won't do it very soon. There's also the new Alien TTRPG, which I'm not going to buy right now. I probably won't buy that for a very long time, even though it's one I'm super interested in, because Alien's one of my favorite franchises ever. But no way I'm getting Alien until we've had a sufficient amount of Call of Cthulhu, you know?
We also might have a couple of Warhammer episodes in the future. G has definitely, that is his main hobby.
Yeah, he's gone full Warhammer on us, because he makes way more than we do and can afford it.
Yeah. He has already got a couple of starting sets. His thing is the Imperium of Man, for those of you who play the game, which is the poster children, the Space Marines, humans in big metal armor with giant guns. And he got me into it just a little bit. Not enough to like warrant pouring thousands of dollars into, but I told him, I said, yeah, let me get a couple of minis and figures just so that whenever we're hanging out, we can do quick games.
Yeah, you were gluing them together earlier.
Yeah, and I chose orcs. Because when I was doing a little bit of research, like if I want to play some of this stuff, what do I want to play as? And just the meme potential for orcs just caught my eye.
I've also noticed in general you're attracted to really strong, really dumb characters. Like you said your favorite DC villain was like Solomon Grundy. You said your favorite Marvel hero was the Hulk, and Your favorite JoJo stand users, Ogayasu.
Which one is Ogayasu again?
What do you mean? You already forgot your favorite one?
It's been over a year since we last watched JoJo.
Pepsi Man. The hand. The big money on his shirt.
Oh my... Yes. Yes, the one who was literally too dumb to die.
The one, yeah. Like, he had one of the strongest stands, but couldn't use it well because he was stupid.
Yeah. And speaking of big dumb characters and Warhammer, that's also another thing. So Warhammer Games Workshop has just released or announced that they're making another video game. It's basically like their first-person shooter Vermintide, which takes place in their medieval fantasy Warhammer world. But they're now making one for 40K. And it's basically like Left 4 Dead, but with Warhammer. You fight hordes of enemies with different characters who have different abilities and just try to survive or get to an objective. And the one character that caught my eye was the Ogren, which is basically a human who, after 20,000 years of living on a planet with high gravity and just an inhospitable environment, has now grown naturally to 9 feet tall, have super big muscles, and are dumber than a sack of hammers.
I dig it.
And that's just... I want to play as the living ogre.
But yeah, I'm not going to buy anything for Warhammer because I think it's very overpriced for what you get, for one thing.
The miniatures, I disagree with that, but the tools, oh my goodness. I am not paying $35 for a pair of plastic cutters that have the Citadel logo on them. I got the exact same clippers I needed from Lowe's for like $5.
What a rip-off. Yeah, so I'm not doing that. But also, I've bought several games and bought all the stuff for the games that we either haven't or barely played. So until y'all play those games with me, I'm not buying stuff for another game.
I don't blame you. Like I said, Warhammer is fun, and I have played a couple of games with G with his startup set. But there's no way that I'm going to invest thousands of dollars into this game. I just want enough so that when G comes over, I can do quick games with him, and if there's anyone in my local area who does it, I can say that I have some stuff to be social.
I'm sure you could find people around here that do Warhammer.
I know they do Warhammer over in Macon, where I get some of my other D&D stuff, but I haven't had the time to invest going all the way over there each weekend.
Yeah.
Plus, I still have to assemble the orc miniatures that I got.
Speaking of games I paid a ton for that we barely play, we played Call of Cthulhu once. And
that was a fun session.
It was an incredible session.
I wouldn't want to be the, was it lore keeper? I wouldn't want to be the lore keeper.
Keeper of arcane lore.
I was close.
Which sounds way cooler than Dungeon Master, no offense.
I don't care. That's one thing I miss. Ever since our last session with Karen and Kami, I miss role-playing. I've DM'd for what feels like the last 6 months, and I kind of just miss having that one singular character that I'm in charge of, because lately I've been playing and role-playing and keeping track of 50 different people.
Yeah, role-playing those little NPCs and enemies is nothing like putting all your energy and emotion into role-playing one singular character. But luckily for you, because I wrote this whole Call of Cthulhu campaign, it doesn't use any Lovecraft monsters. It's all like Chupacabra, Bigfoot, Hopkinsville Goblins, Jersey Devil.
I love... Oh, shoot. What's that type of creature's name again?
Cryptid?
Cryptids. I love cryptids.
Well, you couldn't remember the name, so you don't love them that much, right?
I just don't have time to read them. Like, that's one of the reasons I like Hellboy as a series, but I just don't have the money to get involved in a comic series with D&D and Warhammer, and not enough money in the world.
Yeah, most people who play D&D or Warhammer don't have money for anything else. So I actually stopped reading a lot of comics myself, to be honest. But yeah, so I wrote this long campaign, and it was for you, Karen and Kami, but since we're not meeting with them for who knows how long, at least not for gaming. They still want to have like movie nights and stuff, but probably not for gaming. But I want to get a group together for that. I know you're already down. G told me he was probably down, but would have to see.
Because he doesn't want to get burnt out between Warhammer and Dungeons and Dragons.
Well, my thing is once a month for Call of Cthulhu.
Okay.
Because my campaign is episodic, so each episode is each session's a fully contained story, right? Each session's a fully contained story, but they do all connect. Like there will be characters you'll see again. Like there's this rich bachelor named Emil Longspire that you'll have to interact with multiple times, and etc. And then there's also like a secret government organization that you'll interact with multiple times as well. But I only want to do one session a month because I also do not want to play that every other week and D&D every other week. No, I don't want to do that either.
Right.
I don't want to do that either. So since it's episodic, once a month, you'll have to take some good notes so you remember with a month between sessions, so you'll remember stuff. But I just want to do it once a month, and that's it. And I'm also still working on my Call of Cthulhu, like bestiary thing. I can't finish it and release it until I've actually play tested these monsters I've made, which is, they're all in the campaign. The campaign is all the monsters from the book and stuff, like gray aliens and all that stuff. So, once we get well into that campaign, then I can tweak the book, edit it, make another draft, and release it. I'd also like to commission some art for it if I can afford it. But that is that. And there's actually one thing I want to talk about that's not for an RPG. Shining Fates from the Pokemon trading card game.
Another Shining set?
It's literally just Hidden Fates again, but for the new generation.
See, what's this one called again? You said Shining Fates?
Shining Fates. So Shining Legends, Hidden Fates.
I don't know. I don't think that's what they call it in Japan, because whenever I watch
we changed the
other
names.
YouTube, Nintendo of America's scraping the bottom of the barrel, or Pokemon, whichever company does the trading card game, they're scraping the bottom of the barrel for names.
Yeah, Hidden Fates also sold so well, like incredibly well. I sold just one random Pikachu from Hidden Fates for like $2.
I still have all my shiny cards.
Yeah, me too. I didn't sell any of my shiny stuff. I sold all my commons and stuff, and they still went for more than usual. And I don't know why. But yeah, Hidden Fates had all that, and lots of the stuff in Hidden Fates wasn't even that good. Like all those cards from the Learn to Play set from Japan, those cards suck.
Well, they kind of were meant to. There was the intro to Pokemon baby set.
Yeah, but don't put them in a big fancy set then. Like, not cool. And then lots of the cards are reprints, but just shiny. So Hidden Fates, looking back on it, wasn't as incredible as we all thought it was. And now they're just doing it again with the newer cards. I will not be buying any of them. I feel like I have enough Pokemon cards.
As do I. I haven't bought Pokemon cards in what feels like 2 years.
Yeah, I have enough Pokemon cards, man.
Same thing with Magic. Like once I made all the decks that I wanted to with Magic, I just decided, you know what, enough's enough. I've kind of lost interest in anything new they've got. I'm happy.
I kind of want one more Magic deck, a red and green, but
is that the one with the Godzilla?
No, it's dinosaurs again. You know I love my dinosaurs, dude.
Yes.
But but we haven't played Magic in a while, so as soon as Connor moved, we almost stopped playing Magic cold turkey. Really, if you think about it.
Well, we also picked up D&D, and D&D is way more time consuming than trading card management.
Yeah, but that's basically all those extra talking points I had. We've almost hit an hour, so we've passed this, exceeded our 30-minute minimum, which is good. But thank you all very much for supporting us. How about for the next episode we just do Karen's Campaign Part 3?
Sure, sounds good to me.
I think we should just do that for the next episode. Get it out of the way. The people have waited way too long for it. We didn't record it when we did it because everyone was tired and I was not okay that day, actually.
Yeah, I remember.
I was not okay that day. So we'll just do that next time, and we'll see you all then. Bye for now.